Hi everyone, Liz here, thanks for stopping by. So, myself and Millie, who is sat on the window ledge over there. Millie moo! Hello! Say hello! I'm going to say hello to everybody. No, you're not saying hello? Yeah, she's a booty girl. I'm going to do a little bit of a whip and not so much a chat as a moan and a bit of a, well, not quite a rant, but a bit of a really good moan, shall we say, while I work on this Timni Arts owl cushion that I've got. This is a cushion cover. It's got lots of sparkly ABs all around the eyes here. And then some of these yellows are all ABs all around here as well. So I've just got this little bit to finish off, and I thought I'll pop on and give you an update on Hubby and what's happening and the nightmare that I've had for the last 48 hours, which, oh my goodness, it is unbelievable. You have no idea. But I'm still here. I'm still trying to laugh about it. So we've got our lovely Hatfield Designs hedgehoggy tray. Sorry, I call it a hedgehog because I always think that this part looks like a hedgehog's nose. And yeah, I am going to put some boggly eyes on that because to me that is just a hedgehog. It is actually a diamond. When you put the lid on, it is actually diamond shaped, and they're really lovely and easy to work with. And then I've got my tray with my drills in, which is the middle size version of my lipstick tray things that I bought from AliExpress. There's an unboxing video of a larger one coming up. Well done, Liz. There's an unboxing video of a larger version coming up soon. Can you tell I'm stood up and not on my desk? And yeah, I've got my trusty magnifying glass as well there. So I'm all set up. I'm going to stick this, I'm going to put this into my stand. I've got a little bit different angle now, so hopefully you'll actually see me diamond painting rather than just my hand. So bear with me a second while I just get all set up, and we'll have a go at diamond painting and have a little bit of a moan. See you in a minute. Right, okay, so let's get on with the painting. I'm going to try a different angle this time, see if we can get this a little bit better, because it's been a bit, all you've seen is my hand when I've watched my videos back. So I just need to get this a little bit better. So let's get working on this owl, and we'll start off with the oars. So we've got quite a few left. Just say we're on the last sort of little bit of this. And I'm using my Hatfield Designs tray, my pink, my hedgehog. Okay, so put all that in there and we'll have a look. As you know, I do like to work with a lot of drills in my tray. Give them a good shuffle there. Get them in. I don't know whether you can see. This is the only thing now with me being sort of on an angle as to whether you can see what I'm doing. But we'll see how it goes. You never know. We've got to try these things. Right, now I've got to make sure I can see through my magnifying glass as well, otherwise I'm not going to be able to do this. And yeah, I think we're set up, so let's have a look. We'll start on the eye in the middle first. And just put a little bit more wax in my pen. Just give that a little bit of a twist. And we should be good to go. Okay, and first diamond's down, yay! Can we see this? Yeah, I think you can see what I'm doing, that's okay then. So, yeah, it's been a funny old week, and I'm sorry I'm going to have quite a moan in this one, because I just can't believe what goes on and what things happen, and oh my goodness me. So, just get in, you, just get in. Where are we now? 2 days ago, I got a call in the morning saying, oh, Hubby's well enough to come home. His infection markers and everything have gone down, so can you come and collect him? And much as I love him and much as I want him home, I'm thinking, yeah, but there's only me here when he gets home. And if he becomes poorly in the car, because as I say, it's anything from sort of like 40 minutes to an hour for bringing him home. Sorry, I have a bit of trouble with black ones. I can't always see them. And I can never tell whether they're right way around or not. I have to have a look when I've finished. So yeah, so I said, well, could you arrange transport? And normally, like, it's a medibus, which has somebody that's medically trained and everything. And I said, yeah, that, you know. So she says, oh, okay then, yeah, we'll arrange transport, that's fine. So I said, well, you will let me know what's going on, won't you? You will let me know what's happening. She says, oh yeah, we have to wait for his medication. And once we've got that sorted out, you know, that's got to come from the pharmacy, then we'll get him sorted out. Oh, okay, that's fine, that's fine. And you know you're going to be waiting a few hours. The medication, I don't know whether it must be that they've just not got enough staff in the pharmacies in the hospitals, because, I mean, last time Hubby came home, was it last time? Time before, do you know, they all merge into one now. Just one mad event to another. It was sort of like midnight when he came home, because they'd still been waiting for his medication, bearing in mind that the pharmacy is supposed to shut at 6 o'clock. He didn't get his medication till way late, and then by the time the medibus dropped him off, it was practically midnight, which, you know, for a poorly person coming out of hospital, coming home, that's not brilliant. At least I was here. You know, and they brought him in, so I just presumed that, you know, we might have something like that again. So anyway, I'm pottering about, and I just happened to check my emails. I'd spoken to him a couple of times, and he was really excited for coming home, as you are, because nobody likes being in hospital. It's not a nice place to be. And you know, I had a good chat to him, make sure he's got all his stuff, because it's easy to forget. They're allowed to take, like, phone chargers and his shaver charger and everything. He has an electric razor shaver now, so, you know, I said, make sure you take those out of the walls, because, you know, they're easy to miss when you're packing your bags and things. And he's like, yeah, that's fine. And yeah, so sort of like tea time-ish. I mean, oh gosh, I'm not doing very well with this, am I? I shouldn't have started with the black look. I'm not good with blacks. I am on a little bit of a funny angle as well for doing this. Just make sure they go down. Okay, but at least you have a diamond painting channel. Yeah, I don't mean to say that I'm an expert at it. Okay. Yeah, so I am looking at my emails round about tea time-ish, which must have been about 5 o'clock-ish, 4:30, 5 o'clock-ish. And there was this email, you know, you get all sorts of spoof emails and begging things, you know, join this charity, or oh, you've won a prize and all this. And there was this email, I mean, I don't open them, but this one just said something about, oh, your taxi has been booked. Please log on to this website and pay for your taxi. And I just thought, oh, it's another spam email, you know, just another fishing for money. So I just deleted it, didn't think any more of it. Spoke to Hubby again later on, you know, just pottering about. And then 7 o'clock, I get this ding, ding, ding on my phone. I'm like, oh, what's this? What's going on now? And it's a text message saying, your taxi driver is outside and waiting for you. And I'm like, taxi driver? So I looked out the window and I'm thinking, has somebody ordered a taxi as a joke, or is somebody, you know? And then the penny suddenly dropped. The hospital have ordered a taxi for Hubby. He's obviously not getting a medibus. They've ordered a taxi. Nobody had rung me to let me know. You know, there's all this, oh, we'll let you know what's happening. We'll let you know when he's coming home, you know. Nobody ever rings. I mean, it's not like I have a phone that's going to be permanently engaged, like when you ring the hospital and it takes you like 45 minutes to get through because it's either permanently engaged or you're on hold. You know, if they ring me, it's going to be like a minute call just to let me know. I'll answer the phone straight away, or I've got a voicemail and they can just leave a message within a minute, you know. I know they're busy, but surely they could at least communicate a little bit. Sorry, I'm trying not to moan, I'm trying not to rant. But wait till you hear the rest of the story. So I rang Hubby and I just said to him, have the hospital ordered a taxi for you? And he says, oh, I don't know. So he buzzed the nurses and they came back and said, oh, yeah, we've ordered a taxi. So I said, well, it is sat outside waiting for you then. I got the text message from the taxi driver. And they're like, oh, right, yeah, we'll get him ready then. We'll get him in the taxi. I mean, they've no right, really, to be giving out my email address and my telephone number under Data Protection Act. I'm a bit iffy about things like that because I presume that the email was connected to the taxi and then to the text message. But if I'd have just completely ignored that email, that text message saying your taxi driver sat outside waiting for you, just thinking it's another scam, then he'd probably just been sat there now. Which, to be honest, in hindsight, is probably would have been a good thing. But anyway, so yeah, lack of communication, great, anyway. So they bundle him up and send him home. This taxi driver takes the longest way round possible. It takes over an hour for him to get home. He was strapped in his wheelchair, strapped into the back of this van taxi thing that they take wheelchairs in. And he was travelling backwards, which is not brilliant at travelling in a car anyway. He does get a bit of car sickness. I always give him travel sickness tablets these days if I know we're going to be in the car for a while. And I mean, I was annoyed that it was just a taxi. It was a taxi driver that his first language wasn't English, so that wasn't brilliant either. And I just thought, what would have happened if something had happened while Hubby was in the taxi? The idea of having a medibus and somebody medically trained with him. He has just had chemotherapy. He has got cancer. What if he'd have collapsed or started being ill? What was the taxi driver going to do? So anyway, he arrives home, as I say, over an hour later. And promptly I wheel him into the living room and he just is sick everywhere, throws up everywhere. So I quickly grabbed a bowl from the kitchen and he continued, unfortunately, to be sick. And I said to him, just stay where you are, let me get some cloths and let's get you cleaned up. Because obviously, anyway, you can imagine. But no, Hubby being Hubby decides, oh no, I want to get into my chair and move. So he starts moving in his wheelchair while I'm out of the room for 2 seconds, grabbing towels, and promptly spills the bowl full of ugh all over the carpet. So that was a really good welcome home. Anyway, I get all that cleaned up, get him changed, get him washed down and everything, get him comfy. And I think it really was just travel sickness, to be fair. Some people do get travel sick and some people definitely get travel sick if they're facing, backwards as they're going along. When I'm on a train, to be fair, I do like to be facing forwards, so I'm going forwards rather than backwards. It can be a funny sensation, and he had been in the taxi a long time. And then I start looking through his medication. I mean, they just send you this great big long list of medication home. As I say, I feel like I'm studying for a medical degree sometimes when I'm looking through all these discharge notes and seeing what I need to do and what this is for and what's that for. They could, I don't know, I know they're busy, but they could at least sort of ring you up and just say, right, we're sending these home and this is this and this is this, but no, do they heck. So I'm looking down his medication and I noticed that one of them is 3 times a day. Now, he can't remember whether he's had tablets or not. I mean, obviously, when you're in hospital, they're constantly, messing about with drugs and stuff, and you don't know what you've had and what you've not. And he doesn't have the best memory, unfortunately, with all he's been through. So, I tend to do everything for him. And so I rang the hospital, the ward that he'd just come from, and said, oh, can you let me know, has he had this tablet? Because it says, 3 times a day, and I need to know whether I need to give him one tonight or not. And then I says, well, what time did he come home? I said, well, about half an hour ago. So she said, oh, well, I think he'll have had it then. I said, well, isn't it written in your notes? And she said, well, yeah, you're okay. You don't need to give him any tonight. And then I explained he'd been sick. And I said, was it okay? was it okay to give him a sickness tablet? Because obviously we've got anti-sickness tablets that he still had at home from when he had his chemotherapy. So she says, oh, well, I don't know. Is there any on the discharge letter? I said, well, no, you've not sent any home. So she's just said to me, oh, well, I said, well, look, I've got these that he was given to stop sickness when he had his chemotherapy. Will these be okay? And she said, oh, yeah, they'll be okay. Yeah, you'll be all right giving him those. And you know, when you think, why did I bother ringing up? You know, they discharged him from hospital. Let me just move this so I can do some more of these little symbols. Where's the next one? They're all there. Make sure you can see these. And I thought, well, maybe Dr. Liz should have just done it herself anyway. Yeah, they say to you, oh, you know, ring us up, any little thing, don't worry, and we'll help you out, we'll get you sorted. We don't want you to be stuck. And I thought, well, that was great. Anyway, so the next morning comes and he's had a nice sleep and, you know, he's so happy he's back home and he's nice to be in his own bed, and we get him bathed and, you know, he's really happy, has his breakfast. He says it's lovely to be sat in his own chair again and be nice and comfy, because we're the best will in the world. Hospitals aren't the comfiest of places to be, are they? And yeah, and then about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, he just says to me, Liz, I can't breathe. I'm really having trouble getting my breath. And at first I thought, oh, maybe he's exerted himself a little bit too much. You know, just come out of hospital, he's wheeling around in his wheelchair. He was using his manual one, not his electric one. Because he didn't feel up to using his electric one. He didn't think he could control it at the moment. He wants to get used to it again. I mean, if you've been watching me a while, you'll know he hasn't had it very long, so he's not used to driving it as such quite so much. So I just said, well, you know, how do you feel? What's you thinking? And he's, so I don't know, it could be that, it could be that. I says, well, come and sit back in your chair. Let's get you a cup of tea. Let's get you relaxed and see if you feel any better. Anyway, about 1/4 of an hour passed and he said, do you know, I'm not feeling any better. In fact, I think I'm starting to feel worse. So I start getting all my little gadgets out that I've bought from Amazon, would you believe? They're like one of those things, you know, that you put on your finger. It's like a little grip thing and it gives you your heart rate and your breath rate and your saturation of oxygen in your blood and everything. And his sats were down to 76%, which you've got to be over 90. You've got to be over 95 really, but you know, anything over 90 is okay. Well, okay-ish. So I ring this emergency number that we've got for the cancer patient wards. And she says, oh, well, I'm going to ring an ambulance. If his sats are that low, we need to get him sorted. I'm going to send an ambulance. So by this time, he's real upset. I don't want to go back in hospital. I've only just come home. Oh, you know, and he's, well, let me die. He says, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. And I'm like, no. Let's see what they say first. You know, they might just give you some oxygen or my machine might be reading wrong or something. Let's just see what these guys say. So he says, oh, okay. Anyway, the ambulance arrived and actually their machines weren't that much different to my little machine. So that was quite handy to know. Yeah, my little machine that I bought from Amazon and my thermometer were within a couple of degrees the same as what the paramedics things were, the ambulance people's were. So that was, well, good and bad. I mean, good that at least I knew that, you know, the things work for future reference, but bad because that then did mean he was in trouble. So the ambulance driver, sorry, the paramedic, then rings the cancer wards and explains, you know, what's going on, what everything is. And they both came to the conclusion that they thought Hubby had a blood clot in his lung. And that's why it had come on so fast. And that's why he couldn't breathe. And it's like, oh no. Because as I said, it's nearly 3 years ago now. While Hubby was in hospital with sepsis, he did get a blood clot on his lung. it did travel to his heart, and it did stop his heart for 20 minutes. And yeah, we did think we were going to lose him, and I was told he wasn't going to make it through the night, and I did sit there holding his hand all night and just telling him to keep fighting and don't you dare leave me, and all the other things you say to somebody when you're trying to, you know, I mean, he's just on a ventilator and just in a very, very poorly state. Sorry, it just really upsets me even thinking about it. It was just a horrible, horrible time, and you know, I hope nobody ever has to go through that, and I do sympathise with anybody that has had to go through that. It wasn't a good time. But anyway, he fought it. He's very, very strong, and he fought through it, and he's still with us, and I am exceptionally grateful for that. So the thought that he's got another one is just like, oh, an arrow to the heart, shall we say. So yeah, so the ambulance then dropped the bombshell that he can't go back to the cancer wards that he was on, because they can't deal with blood clots, and if he does arrest, he would need to be in intensive care, and they don't have that facility at that hospital. So he had to go to the big main hospital, Hull Royal Infirmary, which is where he was at Christmas, where he absolutely hates. He starts off saying, no, I'm not going, I'm not going, I'm not going. Leave me here, that's it then, I'm not going. And I had to do a lot of persuading and begging and getting cross and pleading and all the other things that you go through with a very stubborn person. And eventually he said, oh, okay then. I think actually by this time he was starting to feel really poorly, which you will be if you're not getting oxygen going around your body. And yeah, he just, I don't think he could be bothered to argue anymore. So they took him away. They take all your phone numbers and all your details, and off they went. And they said, we'll let you know as soon as we know something. Apparently there was a 2.5 hour waiting list for ambulances getting into the accident and emergency. And if he was stable, if the paramedics had him stable by the time he actually got to the hospital, then that would mean he wasn't classed as an emergency. So they would just, well, just leave him outside in the ambulance until his turn came up. So, you know, you try waiting, and I had a sleepless night, and, you know, you're waiting all night for a call, and you try ringing and you can't get through. There's nobody there. There's nobody answering the phones. And I mean, it's because they're busy, and I do understand that. But nobody rang me either to let me know what was going on. So it was a horrible night. Absolutely horrible. So anyway, the next day, I try getting through. I can't get through. Where's my containers gone? Right, let's just put this colour away and get another one. And sorry, I hope this isn't a real long moan for you and you're not getting... Oh dear, not my usual happy clappy self, but I do just need a moan every now and again. Right, let's just get this next colour. So which one shall we do? I think we need to do... Oh, let's do these edge bits. Oh, look, I've moved one now. Right, okay. So let's have a look at this one. I might as well put them all in because this is the last bits that I'm doing. So put that in there. Okay. So we're doing like the little lozenge shape. Okay. So yeah, where was I? Oh yes, so we've got to the next morning now, and I've still not heard anything. Oh, we've got an escapee there. Let me just get that one off. That's one that's disappeared from somewhere. And oh, you can't see, can you, if I put my tray there? As you can see, Mirror is actually working today, so I can look on a little screen next to me and just see whether you can see anything or not. I am trying. Anyway, I finally get through to accident and emergency, and the lady comes back after looking it up and searching for him or whatever it is that they do these days, and says, oh, he's gone to the acute medical unit. I'll put you through to there. And I'm like, oh, okay then, all right, thanks. So I get through to acute medical unit, and I said, you know, I'm ringing up about my husband. Can you let me know what's happening, please? What's going on? I've not heard anything all night. You know, we brought him in yesterday afternoon, and, you know, for all I know, I don't know whether he's alive, dead, where he is, what's happening, what's going on. So she says, oh, I'll put you through to the ward. So the phone just rings and rings and rings and rings. And then it just cuts off after ringing for ages because nobody's answered the phone. So I'm like, I rang back again and I just said, look, you know, I need to know what's happening. I'm presuming somebody would have let me know if he'd have passed away at least. So she said, oh, heck, right, okay. They're obviously really, really busy. And I thought, well, yeah, I could have probably worked that out myself. But, you know, as I say, it's not like I'm a big corporation and it's going to take them 45 minutes to actually speak to me. It's just a minute. You know, I know there's a lot of patience and it's a few minutes all added up, but it's not good enough, really. You know, you've got to let people know. And plus, as well, other than Millie, I'm on my own completely here. So it's not like I've got somebody else to sort of like give me a big hug and say, oh, everything's going to be okay. I'm just here going out of my mind, you know. So anyway, she says, look, I'll pass a note through to the nurse and get them to ring you. So I waited another hour. Nobody's rung me back. So I rang again and I said, look, you know, I don't want to be a nuisance, but nobody's rung me back. And, you know, put yourself in my shoes. You took my husband away in an ambulance yesterday and nobody's rung me. I have no idea how he is or what's going on. So she says, oh, I'll go through and see the nurse and I'll tell her, you know, to give you a ring. So another hour passes and still nobody's rung me, and by this time I'm, you know, my head's about to explode, I think. You just think the worst, you just think all sorts, you know. I mean, you sort of want them to ring, but you don't want them to ring in case it's bad as well. So anyway, I finally get back through again and I said, look, what is happening? Please just tell me what is happening. So she says, right, I'm going to put the phone line through and I'm going to go through to the ward and get them to answer the phone to you. So this stroppy sister comes on the phone and says, well, I was waiting to see the doctor before I rang you. And I said, yeah, but you could have rung and just let me know he was okay. By this time, he's been gone 22 hours. And I said, he left our house nearly a day ago and I've heard nothing from anybody as to how he is, what's going on, you know, just what's happening, basically. Is he okay? So she then proceeds to tell me, well, he's dehydrated and this and that and the other, and he's got a temperature of 39 and, you know, and I said, so did he have a blood clot? And she says, well, I don't know anything about a blood clot. What do you mean a blood clot? And I thought, oh, no, don't tell me he's got to hospital. And, I mean, I can't imagine that the paramedics haven't passed all the information on. And they're not treating him for the blood clot. They're just treating him for other things. And, I mean, how did he get dehydrated from coming out of hospital on Friday night? And then I know he was sick on Friday night. Gosh, none of these are wanting to go the right way up. I'm having a right struggle here. Oh, come on. Get in place. It's because I say I can't see whether they're the right way up or not. These are the dark brown. The black are the worst, but this dark brown seems to be not brilliant as well. Oh, there is a nice click, though, when you put these down. I don't like it. That glue is really grabbing onto these drills. So then you're thinking, oh, no, what if he's laid there in bed and he's got a blood clot and it could travel to his heart at any point? So I said, well, can you look into it? She says, well, there's nothing on his notes. And I said, but there must be, because that's why you came in. And then they start making you feel like you've made it up. So frustrating. Anyway, and oh, wow, that's what I was saying about his dehydration. So it's like, well, how is he dehydrated? And I said, well, he had plenty to drink this morning. He'd had at least 3 cups of tea in the morning after he'd got up with his breakfast, and then after his breakfast. And then he has Ribena. He likes the sugar-free Ribena drink. And he'd been sipping that all morning as well. So he'd had at least a good litre, if not more, of drink. Probably nearly 2 litres of liquid. And I thought, well, you shouldn't have sent him out of hospital then if he's got an infection. But I said his temperature was actually... Oh, that's a spare one that's escaped from somewhere. His temperature was 36 when he left here. Why is it suddenly 39 now? And she said, oh, well, we're treating him now, blah, 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 this, and this. And she said, do you want to come in and visit him? Apparently this ward has visiting, this acute medical unit has visiting, and each bed that has a patient in is allocated an hour's visiting slot per day. She said, but the visiting time for this bed is 11 o'clock in the morning. I said, well, if you'd have rung me back when I rang you first thing this morning, I could have been there for 11 o'clock. So she said, oh, well, if you ring back the switchboard, not offering to put me back through to her or anything, or sorting it out herself. She said, if you ring back and speak to the lady who put you through to me, then she'll arrange to see if there's a spare appointment for you to come in this afternoon. So I thought, oh, right, okay. I said, yeah, I mean, obviously I wanted to see him. And I thought, well, at least if I get there, I can probably collar somebody and find out exactly what's going on and what's happening with him. So she makes me an appointment. She says, well, actually, I've got a 5:30 this evening appointment if you'd like to come for that. That one's free. So I said, yeah, that's brilliant. That's fine. And then she says, I'll take your telephone number. I thought, hi, well, you already should have it, but never mind. It makes me laugh that, as I say, everybody asks for your phone number. And you think, well, I don't know why you want my phone number, because nobody ever rings you back. But anyway, so I gave her my phone number. So I get myself all ready, get up to the hospital for about 5:15 and go to the ward, you know, where he is. I'm having to pick all these off because they're all the wrong way up. I do apologise. It makes my diamond painting look absolute rubbish, but never mind. You're probably thinking, oh, I can diamond paint better than that. Well, that's good, because that might make you feel better. If you think you're not very good at diamond painting, just watch me doing it. Anyway, so I get to the ward 5:15, and I said, oh, you know, I'm here to see my husband. And she just looked at me and she says, well, he's gone. Well, your initial thought is, oh my goodness, he's died. I said, what do you mean he's gone? She says, well, he's gone to Castle Hill, he's gone to the other hospital. I said, well, when did he go there? And she says, oh, well, bearing in mind that Hull Royal is actually in the centre of the city, and Castle Hill, the hospital, is on the outskirts of Hull, at the far side of Hull to where we live. And it's a good half an hour, probably, from there at that time of night. So I said, well, why didn't anybody let me know? So she said, oh, well, you were probably on your way anyway. I thought, well, I've got my phone in the car, it's all hooked up. You know, it would have saved me having to come and find somewhere to park and, you know, sort all that out. And I was just speechless. I just could not believe it that they had let me come all that way to visit him, to find out what's going on, only to find he's actually not there. As I say, it sounds like something from a blinking comedy sketch. Oh, dear. So I come all the way home, and I thought, well, there's no point in ringing just yet, because, you know, she said, oh, well, he hasn't been gone long. And I'm like, oh, well, I won't ring just yet then, because, you know, if they're getting him settled, and they'll just say, oh, you'll have to wait while the doctor's seen him and all this. Can you tell I've played this game so many times before? So let's do a lighter colour this time. This might work a bit better. This is like a moan and rant and chat, isn't it, rather than a diamond paint and chat. But I just thought I'd come on and let everybody know what's going on. I've had a few people asking how he is and what's happening. So yeah, he's ended up exactly back on the ward where he left sort of like 24 hours before. So I eventually got through, because the phone just kept ringing and ringing and ringing, and nobody ever answers the telephones. You know, I don't just sit and ring and ring and ring. I mean, I sort of like ring, and then it rings off because nobody's answered it. So I give it maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, and then I try again. And then sometimes it's engaged because obviously other people are probably trying to get through as well. And I eventually get through about 9:10. And the first thing the nurse says to me is, "Why did you not ring the emergency number, and why did you send him to Hull Royal?" And I'm like, I didn't send him to Hull Royal. Maybe she thought I was a consultant and had an authority as to which hospitals ambulances go to. I said, well, the paramedic spoke to somebody here and said they thought he had a blood clot, so he had to go to Hull Royal. And she said, oh, right. So I said, so has he got a blood clot? And she says, well, there's nothing on his notes to say anything about a blood clot. And tells me again what this other woman said he was being treated for. So I just, honestly, you just couldn't make it up. It is just one catastrophe after another. And anyway, fortunately, I'd packed his phone, and about 10:30 last night, hubby gives me a call. And I said, what have they done about your blood clot? And he says, I don't know. I said, well, did you have one or not? He says, I don't know. So I just said, well, tell me what you've had done, and we can maybe figure it out together. So he says, oh, well, I've had a chest x-ray and I've had a CT scan. And I said, they have looked for a blood clot then. Why couldn't the nurses have said that? They must have had his notes in front of them. They must know if I'm saying, have they tested for a blood clot? They could have at least said, well, he's had a CT scan and he's had a chest x-ray. And then, you know, you sort of like, you're thinking, phew. I mean, I'm just sat here thinking, oh my goodness. Oh, that one's upside down as well as me saying that. I can see whether they're upside down or not when I'm diamond painting. So, just to put my mind at rest or anything. And then she says, there's no doctors here at the minute, so you can't really speak to a doctor, but he is comfortable and he's all right. So hubby's telling me what he's had done. Anyway, he sounded okay. He sounded as though, you know, he'd sort of resigned himself to the fact that he was back in hospital. He then told me that the cannula that had been put in at Hull Royal had come out, and as you can imagine, an open vein, it wasn't a pretty sight. There was quite a bit of stuff everywhere, and yeah, that had really upset him. But, you know, he'd settled down, and, you know, he was okay. He was as okay as he could be, let's put it that way. He's got a drip in and everything. And he says, oh, they told me I was going to be 48 hours at Hull Royal, and then I'd come here. And as I say, maybe they meant 4 to 8 hours, not 48 hours. Oh, dear me. I am just absolutely worn out. Just beating myself coming backwards. Anyway, I have managed to speak to a doctor today. Yay! And I explained everything that had gone on, and she said, oh, I am so sorry. He obviously wasn't well enough to come home. He needs a blood transfusion, and it's the blood transfusion that has caused the breathlessness and caused his sats to drop. And, you know, and then she went on to tell me infections and all the other stuff and what they're treating him for. See, at the moment, because she can't visit the wards, as long as they know who you are. I mean, I've spoken to them that many times, you know, I'm surprised I'm not on the Christmas card list. Well, tried to speak to them as much as anything as well. So they're allowed to actually give out more information over the telephone now than they normally would, which is very much appreciated because, you know, you need to know, you need to put your mind at rest. Some people don't want to know all the details, but as I say, as I am studying for a medical degree, I do like to know what's going on, and you know, what's happening? Dr. Liz on the case. No, that's a joke. Don't ask. Oh gosh, it's one job I definitely couldn't do. And I'm certainly not clever enough to be a doctor. And I wouldn't like to be responsible for all those people either. Yeah, it's bad enough looking after one person. Anyway, so hubby is back in hospital. She said he's not any worse. He's not getting better at the moment, but he's not any worse. And again, my telephone number's been taken, and if there's any change or they need to know, they'll give me a ring. So I am not holding my breath, shall we say. Oh, I've missed one over there, look. Just spot that one over there. Let me just do a bit of a dip into the little thing there. Oh, I can't see this. Hang on. Where's it gone? That one's disappeared, so let me try again. Yeah, that was the right way up. That one's gone in. Oh, look, it's there. It's because I'm looking through my magnifier as well. And it only sort of like shows you a little bit. Okay, let's put these away. So, anyway, that's been my last couple of days. I'm absolutely 100%, as they say, past myself. Millie did her usual when the paramedics arrived. She was helping them take the observations. You know, she just looks at all the different machinery, checks all the bags as they come in, sits looking at them to make sure that they're doing a good job. You know, we can't have any sloppy jobs going on when Nurse Millie is on the case. But oh dear me. Right, so we'll just get this little bit over here done. So all I can say is I hope everybody is having a better start to their week than I am. I just can't believe what goes on. Oh dear. It's a crazy, crazy world we live in these days. Surprised I am not completely grey. I definitely have quite a bit of grey hair, but I'm surprised I haven't gone completely grey or completely white overnight with all this. The worry is just so much. I just wish people, I know they're busy, but I wish they would look at things from the other point of view. You know, just think, if that was my husband or my dad or brother or whatever that had gone into hospital and it's practically 24 hours before you know what's going on, how would you feel? You know, crazy world, absolutely crazy world. But anyway, we'll just plod on and see what the next episode is. So I was about to do a video on Saturday, just do a quick hello and yay, hubby's home and we're getting back to normal. And oh yeah, I'd got a shopping in as well. We have like a frozen food and grocery store called Iceland in the UK, and I'd ordered a big leg of lamb. I thought, oh, we'll have a big roast dinner. You know, because we've still not had our Christmas dinner actually, so I've still got all like the Christmas stuff like pigs in blankets and things. They're all still in the freezer. So I said, you know, if you fancy it, you know, he said, oh, that would be lovely. That'd be really nice to have a proper big meal. So I'd got all that ready, and that got delivered on the day, well, the day he went back in hospital. And of course, then I'm sat here with all this food. I've got gallons of milk because hubby loves a good drink of milk. And yeah, so, well, fortunately, I've passed the leg of lamb on to my mum and dad, because best will in the world. I ain't going to eat half a leg of lamb. I'm sure Millie could have a really good go at it, but it wouldn't be any good for her. So, it's just been a disaster. So I hope if you've been doing anything in the last few days that it's been better than my few days. And yeah, I can still laugh about it because at the time I was going crazy. And thank goodness for diamond painting is all I can say. I mean, I practically got most of this done last night, this owl cushion, because I was just sat there and I was so mad and I was so worried. And you know, when you just dump, 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 dump. Oh dear, if Hubby had been here, he'd have been saying, can you stop clicking? That clicking noise is getting on my nerves. Because I say this one is making a really good sound. Listen to this. Oh, I love that sound. Absolutely love it. Do you like the clicking sound? I just find it, I don't know, I find it soothing, but I don't mind a bit of noise. I'm quite okay with it. I know I used to do like pergamano and well, paper piercing. I never quite got that brilliant at pergamano. Some of the ladies, if you don't know what it is, it's like taking a piece of like parchment paper, and by using different tools you can stretch the paper and it shows through as like a white pattern on the other side, and you can colour them, and if you use the different tools you can actually punch through small like lace patterns. Oh, and they're absolutely wonderful. And I used to love doing the paper piercing part of it, the actual making lace patterns with it. And that used to make quite a clicking noise as well as you were going through the parchment, and you used to go mad at that. Mind you, if you're anything like me, if somebody says that's getting on my nerves, I just want to do it a bit more. So I think that's why I started getting a craft room, so that he could just send me upstairs out the way. Either that, or I'd know he was annoyed because it got to a point where he wouldn't say anything, but he'd just turn the television up so loud that the people at the other end of the street could hear it. And I knew it was my time to stop. Oh dear. Right, well, I think I've done quite a bit now. I am going to finish this off camera now, and I'll go, and I think I need a cup of tea. My voice is starting to go a bit. It's probably all the ranting I've been doing on the telephone. No, I don't rant on the phone. I just explain things in a calm but firm voice. Well, try to anyway, because I think if you start shouting at people, they just switch off and they don't do anything anyway. They don't listen to you. So it's always better to try and be polite, but put the facts forward. I didn't even pick a drill up then, look. That's good. And yeah, there's no point in getting angry with people. And as I say, it's done now. It's gone. The doctor I spoke to today gave me such a big apology and was so, you know, lovely, really, and explained everything. And he's back in the best place, as she said. So, well, I was going to say, I hope you've enjoyed this video, but it's been a bit of a moan and a rant, hasn't it? So, anyway, if you want to give me a thumbs up, it is always much appreciated. Or it's a thumbs up that way. If you want to give me a thumbs up, it is always much appreciated. Thank you for listening, hopefully to the end, and stopping with me. Don't forget to subscribe. The subscribe bell and the all notifications just lets you know when my next videos are coming up. And the next ones are unboxings. I've still got that FG normal unboxing, and I have still got some other things outstanding. I'm getting a little bit worried about one big package I've got coming from a company. So watch this space, and thanks for stopping by, and I do hope to see you all again soon. Bye for now.